This is your silver son speaking, Jonathon. Today I would like to talk to you about the Last Supper. The 15th year of my arriving in this country. For it was in 2004 in September, October that I arrived home. Well, that's a loaded word, home. Well, I arrived here, this place, this country. And it was within a matter of months after ASIO and certain spies in the Matrix were able to pierce my outer shell, tamper with my neural node network, and attempt to drive me clinically insane. "15 years later, in 2019, September 2019, I crossed over from a dimension that people call a land, people call Red Dawn. There was some waiting before I reached Tomorrowland. My life was under threat. I was getting hunted, and I needed to hide on a nightly basis before I went to sleep. It involved sleeping on the carpet in my room in order to prevent certain factions, certain futurists from tampering with my physicality and my being. It was also around that time, in September 2019, that Jews tampered with my medication. I was on an antipsychotic called olanzapine, and it was tampered with to the point that I would, when my blood levels were checked, that I would have high CK levels. Normal CK levels are in the hundreds. When I had my initial blood tests around that time, after receiving a black eye in the astral above, I was taken to the doctor, explained the situation to him, and a blood test was done. My CK levels were above 10,000. I was told that if I was to continue on this path, taking this type of medication, that I could have organ failure. I was checked into hospital. I was on an IV of saline solution because I was seriously dehydrated, and I needed treatment. I spent approximately between October and November 6 weeks traversing Tomorrowland. It was intense, it was hectic, it was full on. And my fate or fortune or destiny didn't change after that. So what Daniel John says from Silverchair about the Silver Sun, what he says about tomorrow is naive, and it's kind of ignorant. During this period, this 3-4 months between September and Christmas, I was space shifting and traversing lands that do not appear in space. It was disconcerting, it was troubling, because I was surrounded by darkness. My house, my community, it was surrounded by darkness. It did not have the internet. It was a land in the sky that had nothing beneath it but darkness. BB, Netin, Yahoo, would board this ship, this mothership that I was in, this holographic reality that was constructed, and repeatedly say that I will not give in to you, that I will not give up, in an attempt to kill me. Meanwhile, thy Lord thy God was busy in the city center trying to figure out what makes it tick. Its power source, its various technology, and what applications it can be used for the real world and for heaven. As Christmas approached, I knew by the threat level and by the ominous feelings of trepidation that this could be my last supper. My father, Terence, gave me a calendar earlier in the year, and there was one single solitary full moon that would mark the day of Christmas Day as a warning to me and my people that when there's a bad moon arising, you bunker down, you don't go out, and you take one day at a time. Of course, the summer solstice is supposed to be 3 days earlier on the 22nd. According to this calendar, the bad moon arising fell on the 25th. It was an ominous omen to me. For I knew that Christmas was going to be held at the Twas. My first cousins and the sister of my mother. On the lead up to Christmas, I kept my plans secret. I knew that it was just too dangerous for me in my final year in Red Dawn to make an appearance in family festivities. When Christmas approached, I jovially began the annual Christafari ceremony. And partied. All the while having this deep, heavy weight on my shoulders that something terrible could happen that day. You think the herb might take my mind away from certain threats, certain realities that I was a part of, that I was enmeshed in. But around 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the afternoon, inwardly concentrating on my mother, I heard a raucous and a fight in my inward connections and threads that was coming from Greenacre, the place of my cousins and aunties and uncles. Within moments, my threat level spiked to DEFCON 1. For the death squad that was operating in coercion with the Twas was coming for me across town. Spaceships were making their way towards my house. This was a government operation by Labour and by members who hail and who regard Paul Keating as their leader. For the Twas had always been in the Labour's Paul Keating Club. For it was my older cousin Luke O'Dwyer who went to the Catholic school Benilde in Bankstown where Paul Keating finished as a school leader in year 10. He did not have in high school, he did not finish high school. He quit in year 10 and he did not go to college. This was the madman that was running our treasury through recession, pulling levers, pressing buttons, not knowing exactly which ones are going to work the right way. A space war was going over Sydney's head. Ships got blown out of the sky. Debris landed in people's backyards. And the righteous won that day. It could have been my last supper. And Paul Keating, this sad, sick individual, who served as Prime Minister for a year, 2 years, from 95 to 97. He still is after me. He is still trying to kill me. And he will appear randomly on my television screen. No doubt by the switching of channels and networks on Channel 9 stations, he will tell me what I need to do and accomplish in order for my legacy and my reign will be worthy to call it a king's reign. It's no doubt that Labour has it in for me. Certain senators, Kim Carr, has targeted me in the past. For I am a targeted individual and the epitome of public enemy. It was a close call that day. But what am I supposed to do about the copies, the clones of my relatives who I'm supposed to be obligated to in my prayer life? In my affairs and ongoings on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis. These people are at the end of their tether, the Ojwires. Danny O'Dwyer, a person who has been abused as a child by pedophiles, has associated himself with the same type of people that abused him in his childhood, now want to abuse me as a young man, as a middle-aged man. Where do we go from here with these family affairs, with nefarious contacts and appalling and despicable allegiances to prime ministers who dress up like women? You put the devil in charge of the country, as below as above. So, looking up, you see dark forces mobilizing. Look below, and you see hellish overtones of fire, flame, and fury. Beneath your feet. The devil has a place. He has a place in our world. But if he's not going to bring justice to my name for the despicable, disgusting, abhorrent acts that have denigrated and defiled me in the name of Satan, in the name of the devil, then he has no place. He has no function or purpose here. No. So ask yourself, does he have a place in our world? A place that is right, that is just, that is moral, that is altruistic, that is egalitarian, that is ethical. The devil can bring justice to me and my people. It's up to him. He can choose his fate. He can do the hard yards, or he can go home. Over and out.